เดี๋ยวเรียนเชิญทุกท่านนะคะที่กำลังลงทะเบียนบางท่านยังอยู่ด้านนอกอยู่นะคะเดี๋ยวเราจะเปิดเซสชันต่อไปกันแล้วนะคะสำหรับเซสชันทอล์กในเซสชันถัดไปที่น่าสนใจไม่แพ้กันค่ะยังไงเรียนเชิญทุกท่านนะคะเข้ามานั่งด้านในห้องออดิทอเรียมได้เลยแล้วก็ขอต้อนรับทุกท่านที่รับชมอยู่ทางไลฟ์กันอีกครั้งหนึ่งนะคะในแฟนเพจ Facebook ของงานเราในครั้งนี้นะคะกับ Bangkok Design Week ยังไงเดี๋ยวตอนนี้เรียนเชิญนะคะสามารถนั่งได้เลยทุกท่านยังคงตื่นเต้นกับในแต่ละเซสชันที่ช่วงทอล์กของเราได้เรียนเชิญวิทยากรที่มากความรู้มากประสบการณ์มาให้ความรู้นะคะแล้วก็มาถ่ายทอดเรื่องราวที่น่าสนใจเป็นไอเดียเป็นการจุดประกายงานศิลป์งานศิลปะงานออกแบบให้กับทุกท่านค่ะสำหรับหัวข้อต่อไปนี้นะคะที่เรากำลังจะพูดถึงกันค่ะจะเป็นเรื่องราวของ Media Architecture กันบ้างนะคะ The New Urban Dialogue ค่ะโดย Asst Lab นะคะซึ่งทุกท่านน่าจะเคยเห็นกันมาบ้างแล้วเนาะสำหรับสถาปัตยกรรมสื่อผสมนะคะนั่นก็คือเกิดจากการพัฒนาในเรื่องของเทคโนโลยีดิจิทัลค่ะที่เข้ามามีบทบาทในเรื่องของสถาปัตยกรรมมากยิ่งขึ้นนะคะสถาปนิกเองนักออกแบบเองเขาก็ได้มีการสำรวจวิธีใหม่ๆค่ะที่จะผสานเรื่องราวของเทคโนโลยีต่างๆเข้ากับเรื่องของแสงไฟจอภาพนะคะแล้วก็อาคารนั่นเองค่ะซึ่งแน่นอนว่าอย่างที่บอกไปตอนนี้เนี่ยหลายๆท่านอาจจะเคยเห็นแต่หลายๆท่านอาจจะคิดว่าอันนี้มันจะเป็นแค่เพียงทำเพื่อความสวยงามอย่างเดียวหรือเปล่าจริงๆแล้วตอนนี้นะคะสถาปัตยกรรมสื่อผสมตัวนี้ค่ะถูกใช้ออกมาเป็นสื่อดิจิทัลนะคะเพื่อสร้างปฏิสัมพันธ์กับคนในชุมชนกับพื้นที่สาธารณะด้วยถือว่าเป็นการ improve นะคะดังนั้นแล้วเนี่ยแนวคิดต่างๆในเรื่องของการพัฒนาอาคารก็เกิดขึ้นจากตัวสถาปัตยกรรมดิจิทัลตัวนี้ด้วยนะคะเพราะฉะนั้นแล้วค่ะหัวข้อที่เราจะมานำเสนอและพูดคุยกันในวันนี้ค่ะ Media Architecture The New Urban Dialogue ครั้งนี้นะคะซึ่งจัดขึ้นโดย Asst Lab ภาควิชาวิศวกรรมคอมพิวเตอร์ค่ะคณะวิศวกรรมศาสตร์มหาวิทยาลัยเทคโนโลยีพระจอมเกล้าธนบุรีวันนี้จะมาเปิดเวทีแลกเปลี่ยนความรู้ประสบการณ์นะคะรวมถึงการสร้างผลงานด้านผสมผสานสื่อดิจิทัลเข้ากับการใช้งานของเราในครั้งนี้นะคะดังนั้นแล้วน่าสนใจมากๆค่ะได้รับเกียรติจากวิทยากรของเรา2ท่านด้วยกันค่ะท่านแรกท่านเป็นศิลปินและนักวิจัยผู้เชี่ยวชาญทางด้าน Urban Media Environment นะคะจาก Creative School Toronto Metropolitan University ที่แคนาดาค่ะแล้วก็ยังเป็นผู้จัดงาน Media Architecture Biennale 2023 ที่ผ่านมาด้วยนะคะส่วนอีกหนึ่งท่านค่ะท่านเป็นนักวิชาการและผู้เชี่ยวชาญทางด้าน Digital Media Technology และ Interactive Education และยังเป็นอาจารย์ประจำคณะวิชาวิศวกรรมศาสตร์มหาวิทยาลัยเทคโนโลยีพระจอมเกล้าธนบุรีอีกด้วยนะคะท่านแรกค่ะที่จะมาพูดคุยกับเราในวันนี้ค่ะชื่อคุณเดฟ Colangelo นะคะและอีกหนึ่งท่านคือท่านผู้ช่วยศาสตราจารย์ดร.ปริยากรปุษวิโรค่ะตอนนี้น่าจะพร้อมแล้วขอเรียนเชิญท่านแรกก่อนเลยนะคะ So for now I would like to invite Mr. Dev Colangelo come over the stage to share for this topic please welcome เรียนเชิญค่ะ
Good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to thank Priyakorn and the team from the Asst Lab at KMUTT for inviting me to come and speak to you, and the organizers of the Bangkok Design Week as well, and to thank all of you for coming today. My name's Dave Colangelo. I'm a researcher, artist, and educator from Toronto, and I want to talk to you today about media architecture. I'm going to first provide a definition of what media architecture is, some context about media architecture in terms of its history, theory, and practice. And then I'm going to spend some time speaking about some of the works that I've created over the past 15 years, delving into the processes and outcomes. Finally, I'll end with some new directions, challenges, and opportunities that may be of interest to people in design, public policy, and technology. Media architecture is an evolving subset of technical, social, and economic conditions and practices for personal, professional, political, and playful digital creation and communication that include large outdoor projections, programmable LED facades, and urban screens. Media architecture can be characterized by a certain scale and spatialization of media in the built environment, and a resultant visibility both on and offline. Media architecture is also exemplary of today's multimodal media ecologies, creating conditions that alter the human and urban sensorium through visual, sonic, interactive, and network capabilities. Media architecture enables and necessitates the development of new concepts and strategies for creative and communicative digital practices, economies, and audience experiences from a few different perspectives. The first being the appreciation of media architecture as central to the orchestrated coordination of space and media. Increasingly so through the growing interactive capabilities of media architecture that turn public spaces into interfaces and sites for rich UX/UI experiences. The second, by extension of the first, is to see media architecture as sites for the development and practices of public and participatory information representation, or public data visualization. And thirdly, media architecture present opportunities for curation and communication strategies and frameworks that blend the logics of urban space, monumentality, digital placemaking, social media, and the public sphere. Essentially, they present us with collections of objects and interfaces that we can speak with and through. Overall, media architecture can support more participatory public media, communication, and design industries and practices in which we identify and engage with collective presence, memory, and action through data, architecture, and networked communication. At the same time, media architecture also represents the threat of an overly automated, commercialized production of space and place, the exacerbation of inequitable power relations, the capture of attention and productive energy, and corporate control of public spaces. They are dense transfer points for the deployment and study of persuasion and ethics within complex interdependent systems of power and infrastructure. In my work as an artist, a researcher, an educator, I approach media architecture as a discipline to be historicized, theorized, critiqued, and practiced. My work involves archival research inspired by media archaeology to uncover the branches and revisited dead ends from which this form and its genres emerge. I explore case studies that include qualitative and quantitative sentiment analysis of social media, combining close and distant readings of data to reveal trends and impacts of various practices and use cases. I also conduct interviews with cultural producers around the world, working within different funding and political structures to develop places and practices for media architecture. And I also use what you might call research creation or action research through Public Visualization Studio, a firm that I helped to co-found in 2010. At PVS, we use art and design-based methods, such as human-centered design thinking, to create projects that help us experience and observe the technical, social, and political impacts of media architecture firsthand. Through this, we're better able to analyze the effect of urban media interventions on cultural production and communication. I'd like to show you some examples of our work, and I'll speak about each, going off script at times to expand on some of the technical aspects of each work, which may be of interest to you, and please feel free to follow up after the talk if you have any questions about any of the projects. I've broken down the projects into 3 threads: LED facades, projection, and urban screen-based works. And I'll discuss the affordances, considerations, and insights from each. The first project I want to talk about was one of our first projects, eTower. eTower was a massive multi-user public data visualization of Toronto's energy on a symbol of the city's energy itself, the CN Tower. This project was presented during Nuit Blanche in 2010, an all-night art party inspired by similar events in Paris and around the world. For this project, we programmed the lights of the CN Tower to glow faster and brighter, moving from cooler colors to warmer colors with each bit of energy we received via text message. There were lots of elements that were part of the user experience, touch points, other considerations that may not be top of mind when envisioning a media architecture project. We had handouts, for example, what we might call boundary objects or interface objects. While a lot of energy goes into the digital side of planning and design, we can't forget about the social and service design elements. How do we bring people in? How do we guide and engage them? How do we start the engagement? How do we end the engagement? Part of what we did, not just by using text messages to drive the animation, was to reply to people's text messages as well and to thank them for their energy and to keep that energy going in the city. Here's part of what we had to wrap our heads around technically to make it work. Overall, with eTower, we wanted to test the limits of, at the time, the emerging technology of LED facades, but also the ability for media architecture to perform a kind of critical and creative spatial and social practice, focusing on relational and ethical communication goals that these spaces can support, such as building trust, cooperation, connection, and value for stakeholders as well. Building upon this desire to bring architectural communication infrastructure to public consciousness and public consciousness to architectural communicative infrastructure, we developed our next LED facade project called In the Air Tonight. This project was presented for 3 consecutive Februaries from 2014 to 2016 at the Image Center building on the campus of my school, Toronto Metropolitan University. Changes in wind speed and direction, detected by a weather machine that we installed on the roof, were visualized with a blue wave around the building. Tweets with the hashtag homelessness made the building glow red. A mobile website mimicked what appeared on the building and filtered messages from Twitter with the hashtag homelessness to centralize the conversation. Also in consultation with Kathy Crow, a nurse in residence at TMU and homelessness activist, I managed a team that held social media activism and photo voice workshops with local homeless people at support centers nearby to animate the building and the Twitter feed with their stories and perspectives. By our 3rd year, we had added functionality that allowed people to make donations to these organizations through the website we created. This is another example of how we try to consider not only technical networks, but more importantly, the social networks, as in the real, tangible networks for relationships and people that we can include to strengthen the impact of our works. From a technical standpoint, we used a weather station, some APIs, Java, processing sketches, and more. We also used a piece of custom software built for this particular facade, which allowed us to pass information from a simulator, which accepts animations translated into a series of flat files and turns them into information that can be read and projected by the LED player. While systems for controlling LED facades had become more sophisticated, they still remain, for the most part, the domain of specialists, computer programmers, and technologists. There's a need for innovation here, both on the side facing tech administrators, but also, crucially, tools for ease of use, access by public-facing entities, schools, cities, museums, etc. How can these powerful tools for meaning-making in our cities be easily understood and put to creative use by citizens to support creative expression, civic connection, and so on? Excuse me. This is one of the questions that's driven about 10 years of my work at the university campus through a project called TMU Lights. Since the fall of 2016, members of the Toronto Metropolitan University community, formerly known as Ryerson, have been able to submit lighting requests for an on-campus LED facade on our website. The requests are then evaluated by a panel of staff and student representatives based on timeliness, tie into community events, and inclusivity. Here's a fun one we created from a request from Dr. Anthony Bonato in our math department, demonstrating how program-level innovation and support can lead to creative embodiments of identity at different levels of the organization. Not to mention the community engagement and sentiment generated online as a result, engaging both relational and transactional communication goals of the school and its population. But the TMU Lights event that I think I'm most proud of is when we modified the code created for the In the Air Tonight project to draw attention to the plight of missing and murdered Indigenous women and their families. At the heart of everything I do, either in creation or critique of urban media environments, is a question of how the combination of rhetoric, ethics, and modes of delivery can give rise to more equitable and just spaces, creating platforms and channels with power and meaning for people, especially those that may be underrepresented or misrepresented. This project felt like a proof of that concept, and it's moments like these that continue to drive my research and practice. I'd like to shift to show some of the projection projects my collaborators and I have realized over the past 15 years. With our projection projects, we tend to naturally think less about UX, UI considerations and more about the relationship that the moving image has, things like spectatorship and our built environment. So here's one of our first works called Workers That Live in the Mirror. This project is a video collage cobbled together from a variety of contemporary and historical sources depicting workers leaving, entering, or blocking factories. It was projected on the facade of an abandoned factory that was turned into an art gallery for 1 week in the summer of 2013. Here we played with some new possibilities for concepts from film theory and practice, one of which is superimposition. This is a concept that suggests that overlapping images, in this case, the images in the films and the image of the abandoned factory, could evoke connections between two separate worlds. It's a concept that we see used to great effect by filmmakers, such as this example from Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. In Hitchcock's work, for example, this might serve the purpose of revealing some internal state, an aspect of memory, or connect action to another time or space. Of course, these superimpositions occur within the diegetic space of the cinema, that is, the rectangle of the screen, and don't allow for the image to engage creatively or meaningfully with the space around it. This brings us to the next concept that I want to talk about, something I would call spatial montage. The nature of montage or editing changes when the moving image leaves the standardized formats of presentation, abandoning their present-day interoperability, the anytime, anyplace, anywhereness of contemporary media for a singular specificity precisely located on a unique surface within the shared frame of an architectural or urban space. When montage occurs in public space, the power of the built environment, scale, visibility, durability, and the logic of cinema, attention capture, information delivery, are combined to expand the dimensions of the site, thus fostering creative narrative capabilities. One way that we played with this idea of spatial montage was with a project called The Line. The Line was a two-part site-specific installation that included a 70-foot-long snow fence set at a marsh and a 15-minute outdoor projection on a 200-year-old barn, both on the site of Markham Museum, a historical recreation of a pioneer village in the heart of one of North America's fastest-growing suburbs. The line asks us how and where we draw the line, as in the lines that manage the flow of people and things. Borders, roads, bike lanes, fences, pipelines, green belts, flight paths, etc. These can be seen as the manifestations of our fears and desires. And it attempted to do this through superimposition of the projection of a 200-year-old barn that was moved to the site because it was displaced by development, and through a spatial montage that created resonances between non-diegetic elements, that is, elements outside the screen and the screen itself. Here's another project I wanted to tell you about. It's called Shadow. I'll let this play a bit so you can hear what it was like in the environment. We presented this work for the Bentway, a linear park under a busy highway in downtown Toronto. Shadow responded to the change of urban form taking place under the Gardiner Expressway. Once dark and uninviting, the arterial infrastructure of the city is starting to transform into an active communal space where people can see themselves and others in the city. Shadow illuminated ice skaters moving under the highway, amplifying their presence and intensifying their connection to their surroundings. Moving silhouettes were cast onto the concrete columns and combined with shadows pre-recorded from other skaters in the city. What we were doing in the background was mixing pre-recorded silhouettes of skaters with live video of skaters' shadows, mixing active and passive participation. In many ways, we see the role of the media architecture practitioner, particularly with projection, as the creator of a kind of cinema in and of the city, with the extended and at times constrained palette and narrative capabilities that it affords. I'll talk more about this in a bit. I'd like to move on to show you some of our more recent screen-based works, and then I'll conclude with some thoughts about the future of media architecture. Here's a work called Ombra Musici 2 that I created with concert violinist Thomas Kotic in the School of Film at Portland State University. A screen installed on a rooftop terrace adjacent to major Portland street with wide sidewalks and plaza spaces nearby featured a video projection of Tomas performing solo works by Bach, Telemann, Piazzolla, and Tarraga. The 20-minute performance of these short pieces was looped over the course of 3 evenings during the Portland Winter Light Festival. Ombra Musici 2, or Musician's Shadow in Italian, reference the visual content of the work, but it also alludes to an extension and amplification of an artist's presence through digital technologies. The overall goal of the project was to engage Light Festival attendees passing by who would hear the music and see the choreographed performer in an improbable place, engaging a sense of wonder. And here I'd like to take a slight detour to introduce one more concept from film theory: apparatus and dispositif. So what do I mean by these terms? Apparatus, following from film theorist Jean-Louis Baudry, are the technical aspects of the delivery of the moving image. So here in this famous scene from Cinema Paradiso, we can imagine the cushy seats of the theater, hidden projection, and dispositif, following from Foucault, are the functions of ideological transfer associated with this technical mode of delivery. So here in Cinema Paradiso, we could think of the protagonist as subject to a stream of images that he can't start or stop. So you're probably wondering, why are these important and how do they apply to media architecture? One useful theoretical framework that I employ for understanding the unique apparatus and dispositif situation of media architecture is Dutch media theorist Nana Vierhoef's idea of the composite dispositif. For Vierhoef, composite dispositif describes a state of mediation in which standardized environments of spectatorship, such as the cinema, the city, or the interface of a smartphone, overlap and co-constitute a relational experience. This concept helps to and provide a more nuanced and complex understanding of media as being semi-coordinated, filter-like, and personally constructed, based on access to various technical and visual interfaces, such as the city and mobile devices. Simply put, the composite dispositif describes a situation in which we are both captured and comforted, distracted and attracted, compliant and defiant, in the overlapping media layers that define mediated public space today. This is something that we thought about with Ombra Musici, as we purposefully placed the work in a space that acted as a natural amphitheater, with opportunities for quiet, stationary contemplation, but also spaces that allowed for movement, for see and be seen moments, for chance encounters and connections. Perhaps another example might illustrate the point a little better. Here's an installation by Montreal-based design firm Daily Tous les Jours called McLarena. McLarena asked viewers to watch and mimic parts of Canadian film pioneer Norman McLaren's original film, Cannon, while their images were captured and automatically processed and presented on the facade situated outside of the Saint-Laurent metro station in downtown Montreal. Crucially, McLarena included a tiered seating space next to the mobile video production booth, so people could watch the performance of the participants as they attempted to mimic McLaren's work, as well as the projection that displayed the results of their efforts. while building upon traditional means for capturing attention and generating feeling and meaning in the cinema, superimposition, montage, dispositif. Macarena adds to the composite dispositif of public projection by including the added stickiness of direct involvement through interactivity. I could go on, but perhaps it's best to direct you to a place where you can read more about some of the ideas and some of the projects that I've talked about today. This is a book that I published in 2020 called The Building as Screen. But it became clear upon completing all of this work that more work on the digital, communicative, and creative capacities of media architecture is necessary. As with all fields, technology, automation, and globalization are continuously changing how we work, live, and relate to one another in and through the hybrid spaces we inhabit. The proliferation and development of urban media environments and associated media forms such as ubiquitous computing, artificial intelligence, and embedded network sensors are undergoing similarly rapid changes as evidenced by the increased importance of the Internet of Things, big data, and smart city initiatives, which seek to create networks of sensitive, communicative objects through embedded electronics and algorithms in cities that can react to intelligent and highly surveilled people and things, shaping commerce, creativity, city services, and redistributing potential benefits and harms. As urban media environments grow in popularity, diversity, and complexity, we must continue to develop theories and practices that allow us to better understand their critical and creative potential in areas like public health, governance, digital placemaking, city and self-branding, education, and entertainment. Regional variations in technologies, politics, networks, and aesthetics serve to further modulate the potentials and pitfalls of this emerging form. Finally, as this form of communication continues to develop and expand, the causes and concerns to which it may be directed are expanding, and audiences are continuing to develop the skills and affinities necessary for more meaningful interactions in the hybrid media spaces and narratives engaged by media architecture. Here's a perfect example. We Live Here 2017 was a powerful anti-gentrification message from residents of 2 towers in Sydney slated for redevelopment. Led by a documentary filmmaker and communication specialist, residents organized a light protest against the local government, which included multimodal touchpoints on social media and traditional news media. What I love about this project is that it embodies the phrase, "nothing about us without us," a central principle of the growing design justice movement, which is also highly applicable to the foregrounding of ethical considerations in contemporary media architecture today. And in my role as Director of North America of the Media Architecture Institute, we continue to explore these ideas and more. The MAI is an international organization that brings together practitioners and researchers from academia, industry, and other places who work at the intersection of media, communication, interactive tech, architecture, and the built environment. Since 2010, MAI has helped to organize a series of events in different parts of the world. The most recent event, the Media Architecture Biennale 2023, was held in Toronto and organized by myself and a team of researchers and students and industry professionals. The Biennale series offers a platform for communities of research and practice concerned with media and the built environment. It brings together students, academics, and professionals from media architecture, art, design, urban planning, communication studies, urban informatics, and public policy to share new ideas and shape the evolving field. And we do this through workshops, symposia, keynotes, paper sessions, publications, exhibitions, and awards. Here's the award that we created for, with our Creative Technology Lab for MAB 23 in Toronto. And if you're curious and you want to see over a decade of submitted projects to our MAB awards, you can go to, and student awards, you can go to one of our websites. The overall goal of these events are to support collaboration, knowledge sharing, and shape research, industry, and practice, as well as showcasing cultural and technical innovation in the host region. Here's just a little bit of our video from the event. Biennales have been held since 2010 in Europe, Australia, Beijing, Amsterdam, and then in Toronto. And if you've been enjoying this talk and you want to hear more or get involved, I'm happy to say that the next one will be held right here in Bangkok later this year. And you'll hear more about that in a second. Of course, if you're interested in learning more, you can also check out some of our publications, which have come out of the networks and ideas and activities involved through the Biennale events through the years. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time and attention and hand it over to our host.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Dave Colangelo. So maybe anyone may have some question at the last session, okay? ถ้าเกิดท่านใดมีคำถามใดๆเพิ่มเติมนะคะเดี๋ยวเราขึ้น QR code ให้นิดนึงละกันสำหรับท่านที่ไม่ได้ยกมือถามอยากจะใช้วิธีการสแกน QR code ถามขึ้นมาเป็นคำถามนะคะเดี๋ยวเรายังคงมีท่านวิทยากรมีสปีกเกอร์อีกหนึ่งท่านที่จะมาให้ความรู้แล้วก็เพิ่มเติมพูดคุยกันนะคะสำหรับหัวข้อนี้แต่ตอนนี้เนี่ยให้ทุกท่านได้สแกน QR code หรือว่าถ่ายรูปเก็บเอาไว้ก่อนก็ได้นะคะแล้วก็เดี๋ยวในช่วงท้ายหลังจากที่เราพูดคุยถึงท็อปิกนี้กันเสร็จเรียบร้อยแล้วเนี่ยเราจะเข้าสู่ช่วง Q&A กันนะคะสำหรับท่านสปีกเกอร์อีกหนึ่งท่านค่ะอย่างที่แจ้งไปเมื่อสักครู่นี้ค่ะท่านเป็นนักวิชาการและผู้เชี่ยวชาญทางด้านของ Digital Media Technology และ Interactive Education นะคะและยังเป็นอาจารย์ประจำคณะวิศวกรรมศาสตร์มหาวิทยาลัยเทคโนโลยีพระจอมเกล้าธนบุรีด้วยนะคะเดี๋ยวมาต่อกันนะคะในเซสชันนี้ที่เรายังคงพูดถึงกันก็คือเรื่องของ Media Architecture นะคะ The New Urban Dialogue นะคะตอนนี้น่าจะพร้อมแล้วค่ะถ้าพร้อมแล้วขอเสียงปรบมือต้อนรับท่านผู้ช่วยศาสตราจารย์ดร.ปริยกร ปุษวิโรค่ะเรียนเชิญค่ะ
สวัสดีทุกท่านนะคะ So good afternoon everyone. I am going to talk about the Media Architecture Biennale that's going to happen in Bangkok this year, 2025. And as you said, it's a biannual event that the last event was happened in Toronto that they've already explained. And I think this is my opportunity and our opportunity in Bangkok, in Thailand, that we're going to have this kind of event in November, and I am as a representative of the committee that would like to explain you what's going to happen in Bangkok soon in November, and my talk is concerned about the urban dialogue. It's the theme of media architecture this year. We're going to talk about what's going to happen here, and I might explain background a bit, what we did prepare and what we link from Dave has explained about media architecture institutions. And as an academic part, I'm actually not artist myself. I'm computer engineering. I'm kind of like a creative technologist who have been working for a long time with the artists as a people who make things happen, make things think, blink, sing, and move. And as a technologist, we work a lot with the media architecture artists, or even you guys got a chance to walk around with the Bangkok Design Week. Not only this year, I mean, previous year, you already see that there are always a lot of new artists, or even old artists with more development, more innovation, more creativity, and it's make Bangkok more lively, more creativities, innovations. That is the media architecture is all about, a part of the design. So the theme of media architecture 2025 is going to be the new media, new urban dialogue. And I introduce shortly myself, and as I mentioned that I'm creative technologist, my background is like teaching programming, controllers, all kind of circuit design, hardware, software co-design, and all kind of software development with application. But we are behind the scene of the artists. But from my research lab as an ASIC lab, we are like edutainment. We do education and entertainment for social interaction. We make the voice for the social impact by using the media architectures, digital arts, and also like all kind of website, VR, XR is our background of the lab. This event will not happen if not got the support from my team, from the ESIC lab team, and also our team are really keen in policy and technology research. We did a lot of research from various countries in order to propose the white paper or the guideline for the government, how the government should support us to do in the long term policy support for the media architecture, industrial design, or even the Bangkok design. Or even awakening. You got a lot of events that concerning space placemaking, and we are the team who did the research on technology solutions with the immersive technology, with the kind of the digital platform, human-computer interaction is our focus as a human-centric design. And the last thing, we did a lot of media arts with the collaborative with the fashion school, music school, and also the architectures and design school. And this is our work since actually my work started from the first year of Bangkok Design Week. It's date back 10 years ago. It's I think more date back 15 years ago. It was a big flood in Bangkok. We did a lot of facade, but unfortunately it was big flood in Bangkok. We moved our facade installations inside indoor, and we did a lot of part of you see from the photo is from my class, from my teaching. I encourage my engineering students to develop art installation, art pieces, media architectures. It's very hard one, because engineering is kind of like very systematic, logical thinking. But little by little, we shift from School of Engineering to School of Art, collaboration with fashion school, music school, in order to develop like music technologies, entertainment technology, fashion technologies, and we did a lot of events with many partners, and we have some installation is Chiang Mai Design Week at the Rajapasong Light District. So we have the lighting installations, and as well as we did a lot of museum. If you visit museum in Bangkok, almost museum in Bangkok behind the scene is made by us. But we are working, when we said we made by us, it's not mean that we work alone. We work with a lot of content designers, storytellers, and as well as the interior design. So this practice is encourage us as an engineering school to think about the community, to engage the community into practice by being a voice for the social issue, as well as the art installations and kind of the facade, the engagement of the people, communities. So this is the legends that we have been working for almost 15 years, since 2010. And connect to the Media Architecture Biennale, we are part of Media Architecture institutions, and actually not is the first time that we did media architectures. We work a lot with the Bangkok Art Cultural Center, Goethe institutions, and as well as CEA, Creative Agency, Creative Economy Agency, in order to develop like art installation or virtual productions. And this is a part of our expert that we think that it's time. We was request from Media Architectures Biennale team and committee whether Bangkok can be a host. And then after we discussed with a lot of team, not only KMUTT, but a lot of our co-creator and collaborator, we decided to make it happen this year. We did prepare almost more years since last year, and the Media Architecture Biennale is not only the platform from the artists, but also the platform for the academic or professor or student that can show your idea, your innovation, and your research. So this is an example that you can hook and see from MAB 2003 or the MAB 23.org from Dave that he did mentions. This is some example that get award. Also, we're gonna have some award and some juries for our media architecture in Bangkok too. And based on what Dave already mentioned, so you can see that Media Architecture Biennale is not new. We start since 2007 with around the world. I mean, since in London, in Berlin, in Kunsthaus in Vienna, in Austria, and also in Denmark, in Shanghai, in Sydney, and Amsterdam, and then Toronto, and next this year gonna be in Bangkok. So every single years they have their corporate identities, graphic, and their own themes. So the Media Architectures Biennale Bangkok gonna be the first time in Southeast Asia that we're gonna host the Media Architecture Biennale, and I would like to welcome and encourage you to join us. So I'm gonna explain and tell you more to encourage and invite you all to join us. So we're gonna have like a topic called the urban dialogue. What is the urban dialogue? So we have 3 themes that we're gonna call for the papers, call for the event, call for artists very soon from our website, MAB 2005, mab25.org. We're gonna launch the call for papers, call for artists soon. And the topic, the first one is we focus on the human. Like we're gonna make our society, communities like vibrant, lively. We try to engage people, try to promote cultural diversity in Bangkok. Bangkok is very pluralism space. You have a lot of space that very, very empty, but it's still useful to do something. You can do a placemaking, it's simple concept, but a part of placemaking, how you gonna make those spaces as a DIY media architecture from the people, local people who engage in this space, as well as how we're gonna do like media architectures, reshaping the cities from the urban, the city, Bangkok itself, and also the media, urban transhuman of the city. It means that how we're gonna use the technology to reshaping the city, the people who living in the city, and the city itself. So the key objective is going to be like we're going to immerse like research and industry, invite industrial person, professional one to join us and to educate the people, not only the researcher, but also our student, not only engineering student, but arts, design, policies, makers, a lot of people to join us and enable the city or the government to make it happen. As well as you might heard about soft power, might heard about the creative economies, how we're gonna make it happen by using media architectures. So we expected that we're gonna engage a lot of people to share knowledge, to do and contribute some research that they already done, or maybe they have innovation or creativity to be done for the futures, and we're gonna make like a networking for international artists, international researchers around the world, and we're gonna be like a centralized for the ASEAN regions and collaborate platform and make the rebranding of the Bangkok and make the cities lively again and engage people. So the program is gonna be like an exhibition conference as I mentioned, and we're gonna collaborate with the ESIC Lab as a host, with the BACC as a venue, and we're gonna have like a Priyakorn University Urban Ally who's gonna take care of all the call for artists and the jury for the media architecture. You might see a lot of work from Urban Ally that they also at the Bangkok Design Week, and Fab Cafe, Ajahn Jane who sit behind us, she also will be like one of the special track with the extended reality, XR, VR, MR, that the expert of the Fab Lab and Fab Cafe. And we're gonna have the benefit from everyone that you can, even if you are a student, we are welcome you to be a student volunteer. If you plan to be the artist, you can also welcome, you are welcome to be like our call for the artists for the new urban dialogue. And this is the venue that's we're gonna take place. You might know Siam Centers, Bangkok Art Cultural Center. We're gonna use that space to imitate live facade, and we're gonna call for the artists, both invited and special artists that get from the juries to install the work, as well as student work that's scattering around that area. Not only the facade itself, but the space around there. And this is the advisory board that we are from the Media Architecture Institution team. And this is the corporate identity that you can see that Bangkok is very mixed, very colorful, very chaotic, and a lot of things you might see from Bangkok Design Week. So it's quite similar to us, as we have the theme of the colors of the Media Architecture 2005, and we try to mix with a lot of colors of the taxi, signage, lighting in the Bangkok. So the timeline is going to be countdown from November, and we're gonna make a call for paper and call for the artists very soon by next month, and you are welcome to join us. And this is all about the media architecture. If you're interested to join, you should scan the QR code and then you give us an information. We invite you all to join us, and thank you BACC team, and thank you ESIC team and Bangkok Design Week. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you very much Assistant Professor Priyakorn ยังคงอยู่กับเราบนเวทีนะคะ Please still be on the stage and please welcome once again Mr. Dave come up on the stage to give an answer because this is a Q&A session. So for now we got some question from the online already, but we give priority for in this room first. If anyone have some question, please let me know. Feel free to raise your hands up and can ask any question after you listen for everything about the media architecture. Anyone else? No? Okay, please welcome.
Hi, my name is Mehtad. I'm a lighting designer by practice, and I was always fascinated by media architecture and the social and economical impact that you guys usually have on the surrounding environment. In your opinion, what is the most challenging part of your profession? Is it the storytelling part or coming up with the technology that catches up with the concept design or the concept that you guys have?
Yeah, maybe I'll start. I would say it's something other than that. And it has to do with aligning civic, creative, and commercial goals. And because when you're working in public space, often those three entities are not always coordinated. So I find that a lot of my work ends up being a lot more political in a way, trying to get buy-in from the different groups and alignment across those pieces to create experiences that are going to be hopefully benefiting all of those groups and leaving space for creatives to be creative and technologists to help bring that vision to life. But it's about getting those sort of permissions and those goals in alignment that I think is often sort of not forgotten, but it's not front of mind. But for me, it becomes the first place to start. Who do I need to align to make this work?
Yeah, for me, from my experience, is first of all the logistic process. I mean, to make the community understand, this is the first thing that I think the most important. The community's understanding, like a community-centric design, like human-centric design, encourage them. I think the Bangkok Design Week also did the same thing to make the community understand what we are doing. And the second part is, as a technologist, I work a lot with the artists. Artists come with a lot of imaginations, a lot of fantasy. So first of all, I let them think and unlimited, and afterwards we need to shape little by little what's going to be happen. Not only the technology limitations, but sometimes it's space limitations. And even with the lighting, sometimes we even talk with the lighting designer. They even talk about lighting pollutions. So they have a lot of sustainability aspect. But I think it's like a teamwork understanding is the most important for the startup process. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, anyone else in the auditorium room for now? Okay, then we have some question from the online. So they asked about the which of your media architecture project have received the best public response and what factor made them successful in engaging community. So this question maybe Kundev can give them answer. Please welcome.
Sure. Thank you to the people online for joining and for your questions. Let's see, which received the best public response? I would say our shadow project that we presented under the highway in Toronto was really well received. And I think because it had elements of both active and passive participation, that it was something that was engaging the site, but in a way that didn't require people to sort of engage directly with the screen. And I think sometimes this can be difficult. We don't want to necessarily create a disconnection from the environment, but that can often be the case if you're working through, a mobile app, or if you have to, read something on the wall to help you understand a project. So something like that was really intuitive, really immediate in terms of the response. So those were some of the elements of the project that I think made it successful.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. For the next question, maybe I think for Kun Priyakorn,นะคะ.
Yeah.
How can interactive media facade be designed to reflect the aesthetic, the traditional Thai architecture?
Wow, it's quite difficult questions because I even tell myself that I'm not the artist, but I think to do interactive, to design, to reflection Thai architecture, I think we see Thai architecture like the lines of the Thai, but sometimes it's the Thai architecture is not only the architecture itself, but maybe the cultures, and maybe you can do like contemporary one. And how can do media facade is, I think it's depend on the community and space. For example, the topic that we did design, we call it like a vibrant city or urban acupunctures, urban dialogue. So how to interact. I think the most important to engage. Like one of example that I ever did with the social media, that kind of people get remotely send the information and interactions. They get involved. Let people get involvement. They feel like they belong to us, or they feel like they got some effect for that. And like maybe from pollutions, from sustainability things. So I think how can interactive media facades be designed to reflect? I think I still cannot have the final answer, but I think sharing the perspective of the Thai aesthetic to show the world that media architecture 2025 is be in Bangkok. I think it's just another thing that you can get engaged. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So anyone else for now? Okay, อีกหนึ่งคำถามนะคะ We still have one more question from online. Okay, what impact do you expect Media Architecture Biennale 2025 to have on public engagement, economic growth, and the tourism in Bangkok?
I think definitely is similar to Bangkok Design Week, is the creative economy ecosystem. So we any kind of digital art, media architecture is part of ecosystem of the economy by using the economic. So the impact can be like the good side or the positive side of the Bangkok, or even we narrative some feeling that maybe as a Thai citizen we feel maybe negative side, but we can turn to be the positive side by engaging people, by engage community to share issue, their problem. And I think it's going to be like a social engage, social impact. And the most important is tourism. Linked to the last question is linked to the aesthetic of Thai architecture. I think it can be linked with the tourism, with the local people, street food, street art, as well as the local shop. I think can link together by using not only the advertisement, but engage the community, educate them to voice to the public. I think it is kind of the helpful for the impact of the media architecture.
Wow, thank you so much. How about Kun Dev's opinion?
Not sure if I can answer that too much, but to say that from the experiences of past biennales, what it's been able to do is showcase partly also what's already here, which is kind of amazing as well. To have a platform for that and to bring people from all around the world to understand that a lot of this work is already happening here and how can it be taken to the next level and how can we sort of demonstrate the value on both sides of the equation, because there's a lot of value, I think, for citizens, for people in the city to have these opportunities to help shape their identities and their histories and their connections with one another. But then, of course, there's the economic side, and there's so many technical and creative economic benefits for this kind of work.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's enjoy together for the wonderful event this one. Thank you very much. Give a round of applause to Kun Dev and Kun Priyakon.
Thank you
ขอบพระคุณ
so
มาก
much.
ๆค่ะขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you, Dev.
ขอบคุณค่ะ โอเคค่ะ เดี๋ยวเรียนเชิญพักผ่อนนะคะ Thank you ว้าว และนี่ก็คือเรื่องราวของ Media Architecture นะคะ เอาละค่ะ เดี๋ยวตอนนี้เราให้ทุกท่านได้พักผ่อนกันสักครู่หนึ่งนะคะ เดี๋ยวในระหว่างนี้ค่ะ เรายังคงมีแบบประเมินค่ะ ท่านใดที่ยังไม่ได้ออกไปพักตอนนี้นะคะ สามารถช่วยทำแบบประเมินค่ะ กรอกแบบประเมินให้เรานิดนึงเพื่อที่เราจะได้พัฒนาในปีต่อๆไปนะคะ มีความคิดเห็นอย่างไรเกี่ยวกับงานของเราในครั้งนี้ค่ะ This is a survey that you can help us to give us some answer for this survey to improve our events for the next time as well. Thank you very much. And the next session gonna be happen in กี่โมงคะ